Hello and welcome to another episode of the Blues Focus podcast, airing every week on YouTube, Spotify and Apple Music. I'm Kieran, your host for this episode. Joining me this week, I've got Elliot and I've got Callum. Two games to discuss. Unfortunately, both ended in 1-0 defeats. We'll start straight away with the game at the weekend, Sheffield Wednesday at home, the return of Gary Monk as well. Elliot, what were your thoughts on the game at the weekend?
I knew you were going to start with me.
Always.
What were my thoughts on the game on Saturday? I'm trying to. Obviously, I'm reserving judgment on Karanka at the moment. I think he still doesn't know his sort of starting lineup at the moment. So it was really disappointing performance. Let's be honest. Sheffield Wednesday could have been about 2-0 up probably, and that's being fair at half time. I think probably should have had a penalty. They should have had a penalty in the first half. Pedersen went through the back of someone quite clumsily. And then I thought, they might get their act together at half time, might come out in the second half and actually give it a go. And gave away a penalty. I mean, it's a bit harsh. I think looking at it, I think the referee was probably looking for it. To be honest, I think he knew he made a mistake in the first half. And then, like I said on the previous podcast last week, once we go that one goal down, I just fear for us at the moment. We just don't look like we've got any goals in us. We've got no options off the bench, really, attacking wise. It was just inevitable, really. We sort of turned up for the last 10 minutes. But that's not good enough, really. So obviously it's only 5 and 6 games into the season, but if this is still happening in another 10 games time, there's going to be a lot of concern, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it is a case of, it's still, with all the signings that have come in, we're just toothless at the minute, I think is the problem. But obviously this week, Callum's with us as well. Callum, what were your thoughts on the Wednesday game, first of all?
I mean, same as Elliot, it's just a bit tough to watch. I mean, I was looking ahead to the Wednesday game and I thought we were going to win. I thought 2-1 and I was thinking, we've been unbeaten. It's not been too bad. I know scoring seems to be something we can't do at the moment, but I thought we could at least nick 1 or 2 and I thought we'd have won, but then you just see the way the game's going. You see how Wednesday was sort of just controlling it and, use the word inevitable. You just know that it was coming and it was annoying when they scored the penalty. Well, they got the penalty, which probably shouldn't have been a penalty, but, it's one of those ones. Some go for you, some don't, and then Bannon scored and, we lost the game, which really was probably the fair result when you break it down.
Yeah, I mean, there comes a point we say, we're toothless, we don't score enough goals, it's inevitable. Do you think it's a case of maybe Karanka's focused too much on trying to bring some sort of solidity to the defence, and there's been no emphasis at all in the attacking style, so to speak? Because you can see, obviously, the defence has come on leaps and bounds since the tail end of last season, especially. But there's nothing at all going forward that's really changed. I know Sanchez brings the odd, a bit of flair, and Lecco looks lively, but that's just different personnel. There's nothing changed in the approach towards goal, from what I can see. I mean, obviously, I don't know whether you two agree.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's difficult. I know we were crying out for another striker on deadline day, just another option up front. Unfortunately, I think Hogan's a confidence player, so when his confidence is not, is not up, he's not going to perform. But at the same time, we're not playing to his abilities at all. Tactically, we're not playing to his abilities. Obviously, with Duke out now, everything rests on his shoulders, like it did last night. And then, like Callum just said, in the midfield against Sheffield Wednesday, we were just completely out-battled, out-fought, outplayed. Luongo and Barry Bannon are useful players at Championship level, very good players. I know Brentford are interested in Barry Bannon. So, and we've been interested in him. He's a very good player. But it just doesn't bode well when our midfield is not good enough to cope with Barry Bannon and Luongo. And we saw the same sort of thing against Norwich. It was men against boys in the end.
Yeah, I mean, we move on to the Norwich game now quickly because it is very much all the same thing, really, albeit just a different ground, pretty much. Norwich 78% possession, was it in the end? No real control. Nice of San Jose to get 4 minutes at the end when we were already 1-0 down, but very much the same thing. I know both of you were very vocal in the podcast group last night discussing various factors of the game. But again, I'm going to start with you on your opinions of the game, Elliot. Overall, what did you think last night?
I think I understood what he was trying to get at tactically. We were obviously up against a far superior side, sort of going forward. In Norwich, they had some big players back last night, which is just our luck. And then as the game sort of wore on towards half time, it really did look inevitable. It should have been probably 1 or 2-0 by then. And I was really hoping there would be a tactical change at half time. I know we were lacking a lot of options on the bench, but I just felt to continue as we had gone in the first half into the second half, it was just inevitable again that eventually we would concede a goal, and it was a mistake in the end from Hogan. And I'm not completely blaming Hogan. I mean, the whole side, wasn't fantastic. The performance wasn't fantastic last night, but yeah, it was a mistake, and then it resulted in the goal. It was just inevitable in the end.
Well, unfortunately for the viewers, Callum's university Wi-Fi is cut off, so that's him for the rest of the show. It's nice of him to make a little guest appearance, I suppose. He got almost as many minutes as San Jose last night. But yeah, Elliot, as you were saying, Hogan getting blamed for the goal, but there wasn't really an option for him other than to hoof it and keep us under pressure. So it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, really, isn't it? Can you really, can you blame him either way? We really didn't play to his strengths, though, did we, last night?
No, not at all. And I know I don't blame Hogan at all last night. Don't get me wrong, he had 1 or 2 really good opportunities last night. In the 92nd minute or whenever it was, he only had to track the ball. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he probably thought that the defender in front of him was going to head that out, and he completely missed it. And in the first half, he had an opportunity with a loose pass from Norwich, and it could have been clean through if he could have controlled that ball. Again, I think it's just his control all night letting it down. He's not being utilised properly, is he? And he wasn't utilised properly last night tactically by Karanka. I don't really know what his role last night was. Just run around a little bit, put a little bit of pressure on the back four. But what was the point? If we were I was having a few conversations earlier on Twitter. In terms of last night tactically, we were just happy to set up with 5 at the back, 4 along the midfield, sit deep, just get into our shape, make it very difficult to play through. And Norwich tried very hard to play through the lines, and they did very well. Their one-touch passing and their movement was superb. But in terms of Hogan, I think he would have been better off just sitting a lot deeper, sitting on Skip or the other central defensive midfielder they've got there. They were dictating play. And just sort of unsettling them. Instead, he was playing a little bit further up. There was too much distance between him and the midfield, and he was basically, he was pressing for no reason whatsoever. It was a complete waste of time on his part. So,
the commentators said last night, didn't they, that Norwich have always had under Farker, especially, have had a style of play that he's utilised from the first game there. Even in the Premier last season, you're seeing they didn't adapt to anyone else. It was this is the way we play, and that's that. They knock it around the back. They like to keep as much control of the ball as possible. And And your problem is like you say, when the gap between Hogan and the midfield, or even Hogan and Eleko and Sanchez on the wings, when that gap is that large, it's pointless having Hogan press two centre backs and the keeper are knocking it around him for fun. Because if we make them panic and shank a pass, our nearest player's 30, 40 yards. So it didn't make sense. Like you say, if he sat on Skip or if he sat on, is it Rupp? I think was the other one, Lucas Rupp. If he sat on one of those two, and all of a sudden you're in a unit, and that front three presses are the three, like you see with Liverpool, like you see with City, like you even see to a certain extent with Norwich, because you've got Pukki, you had Hugo, Buendia, Cantwell, they all done it. So you had 4 last night. How many times did we get caught out last night? You had Lecco give it away in the first half, but even Hogan for the goal, it happened. A couple of other times as well where, Etheridge, he had a heavy touch that turned out to be a pass to Harley Dean in the end, but we're fortunate Dean was there because that was a goal otherwise. So surely Karanka's got to look at that now and say, right, the way we went about the press last night didn't quite work. I know that he's known for it anyway. Forest, Middlesbrough, this was his play, this was his style of play. We knew that before we come in. But last night just goes to show that away to these better championship sides, it won't make a fat lot of difference if we have just one player pressing on his own.
Yeah. It was very, very frustrating to watch. I was watching Hogan pressing the ball on the edge of Norwich's box, and Grant Hanley's just playing a square ball back to Krul, and then they're playing a square ball across to Gibson, and then they're just playing out. And there was absolutely no point whatsoever, especially like you say with Karanka. He likes his team to sit in, keep shape, and become hard to break down. In the end, we just had a striker up there running around like a headless chicken. He had no support behind him whatsoever because they were just funneling back and sitting in their shape. It was just completely pointless. And they just ran rings around us in the end. They had nearly 800 passes. We had 200 passes. And like you say, we had barely 30% possession. It was like a training match for Norwich. And on another day, it really should have been 3 or 4.
Well, we've got Etheridge to thank really for the fact that it wasn't at least 2, 3 or 4. Another, what I thought, a solid performance from him.
Yeah.
But again, it just goes to show there is some improvements there, especially in terms of the starting 11, the players in the squad, but obviously not quite there yet. But how much more time can we give it to gel before you've got to start worrying a bit? Because I know that there's a lot of frustration and panic on the socials at the minute in terms of what we're seeing from the Blues. But surely you've still got to give it time at the minute.
Absolutely. You definitely got to give it time. Like I said earlier, it's 5-6 games. We've still got 40 matches to play. So, in another 10 games time, once we've played about 15, 16 matches, we will sort of be able to see whereabouts we're going to be going this season. Let's be honest. That was a reality check last night. That is how far off challenging in this division we are. Norwich will be challenging for the top 2 spots this season with performances like that. No doubt about it. They have class and ability for this division to tear teams apart this season. So, we don't have that. We don't have the ability in the middle of the park that they have to control a game, to advance on a team and keep them under sustained pressure. I don't think we kept possession last night for longer than, say, 10 seconds, 15, 20 seconds. I mean, Norwich last night, they had the ball sometimes for sort of 3 or 4 minutes at a time. It was, I don't want to use the word, but it was embarrassing at times to think that we're in the same division as this team. Yeah, it looked like we were playing Manchester City.
Yeah, we joke about the fact he got 4 minutes after, or 4 minutes plus 10 minutes in technical with the added time as well. But San Jose, is he now that he's got to be the face that comes in place of Clayton with the suspension. But do we expect him to bring that sort of level of control to a certain extent? You know, he's obviously got the pedigree. He's had Spain caps. He's Spanish midfielders are some of the more highly thought of when it comes to keeping a ball.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's our problem, is that once we dispossess a team, is keeping hold of the ball and having that control or authority. You know, being able to say, you know, look at Norwich last night. They were not scared to win the ball and play it back straight away. Once they regained the possession of the ball, they could then set up another attack. When we won the ball, we always seemed to look forward, and you think, well, no, hang on a second, look back, pass it sideways. It's not a problem. Keep the ball. We just couldn't keep hold of that football last night. And you know, Clayton didn't have a great performance last night. You know, Sunjic put himself about, which is what we expect from him. But we need a player next to him that, when he's got the ball at his feet and when we dispossess the team, is able to keep the ball under pressure. And like I say, hopefully that's going to be San Jose. He's got to come in for the game of QPR on Saturday because, well, I think he's got no choice. I don't want to see Gary Gardner. No offence to the lad, but he's not what we need next to Sunjic, I'm afraid. We need a player that's good on the ball.
There is that debate, isn't there? You've seen it with Gardner playing against Wednesday and now Sunjic in last night. I think it is very much a case of Sunjic or Gardner, especially in Karanka's mind, rather than Sunjic and Gardner. They're very much two similar players in the fact that they just put themselves about, win the ball, but then it's a head up, knock it on sort of thing. But I mean, it is a difficult one. You know, the squad, there's a lot more quality in it now. There's no doubt in that. With you know, like with San Jose coming in, we said it, just a well-esteemed player. Clark Salter back on loan. He's going to improve the starting 11. No doubt about that. But a lot of it's like Callum said earlier in his little cameo appearance. It almost felt inevitable. These results felt inevitable.
Yeah.
And something's got to change, and we've got to see something different that makes the fans believe that there is change, you know, really happening, and it is, you know, it is an urgent matter, really, isn't it? Because, like we say, we've already got fans in meltdown on Twitter. So, but what would you do differently for the QPR game then?
I think at this stage of the season, I hate to say it, but results aren't a big deal. You know, it's the performances. It's seeing an improvement week on week. You know, and at the moment, I feel like we're kind of going a little bit backwards. Yeah, we're defending very well. We're defending solid as a unit. But if you put any team with 11 behind the ball and park the bus, it is difficult to break them down. You know, but at the end of the day, you've got to have a threat going the other way. So I would like to see us revert back to the quarterback. I don't want to see Pedersen as a wing back because it doesn't work. The guy is good in his own half, I think, but in the opposition's half, he's no good. He's got no composure on the ball. He can't pass. So there's no point in playing Pedersen as a wing back. Get him back as left back. Play quarterback, 2 central defensive midfielders, and let's get 4 forwards up there. And give it a go. You know, I'd rather see us go up there, score 1 or 2, and draw or lose, than go up there and lose 1-0 again. I'm not for that.
I mean, what you see against Wednesday in the when Lecco come on for the last 15 minutes, and we actually gave it a go. Lecco probably should have scored with the chance he had. All he's got to do it in that position is put a bit of height on, lift on the ball, rather than just hit it across the floor where it's pretty obvious that's where the defender was going to be. Keeper would have had no chance. You know, Hogan had a chance when he was onside. Yeah, it's coming over his shoulder, but you make decent contact from there. You at least hit the target. He scored a goal similar against Wednesday last season. So you know he's got it in his locker. And obviously, when he did put the ball in the net, he was offside. But when we seem to have a go, we actually look quite dangerous. But he seems to be so reluctant to actually give them the freedom to do that. Which I know, we said it when we spoke about it on the podcast months ago when was the talk of Karanka was coming in. We knew what to expect, but the Championship is so open in terms of anyone can beat anyone. Yeah, you've got your better sides, Norwich, Bournemouth, Watford, for example, the three that come down, kept a lot of their squad from last season, with the exception of one or two names from each side. But the core's still there. But then other than that, you look around, is there any teams in there really that should frighten you? We played Brentford and Swansea our first two games and got 4 points. And they're arguably the best of the rest. So why not loosen the reins and let the fans see some exciting football?
I think, I mean, like we said earlier, we've discussed it. It's not his mantra to play open, expansive, attacking football. It is to simply be hard to beat. And we were 3 minutes away from a 0-0 last night. Yeah, brilliant. But on another day, like I said, it could have been 3 or 4, and it will go on like that throughout the season. I think we've got to give it time. Like I said, another 10 games, we will see. We will see how things are sort of shaping up a little bit more. QPR at the weekend's a good opportunity for us to throw caution, a little bit more caution to the wind, I hope, rather, compared to last night, and attack a little bit more. It'll be an interesting game to see how they get on. And Huddersfield at home following week would be an interesting game. So it's been a tough start to the season. Compare it to some of the other teams that have, their fixtures. It's been a difficult season. I think Brentford, Swansea, Stoke away, obviously Norwich away. Rotherham, they're going to be competitive this season. Obviously we're expecting more from Sheffield Wednesday, but it wasn't to be. A lot rests on Saturday, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a case of being critical of Karanka, because it's more of a case of, look, we can be difficult to beat and still have some attacking intent. With the players in the squad, you've got the capability of having a balance in the side rather than it being all or nothing. You've got to be all out in defence or you have a go, but you're shocking at the back. We know that the players in there, we've got a starting 11 that's capable of doing both sides of the job. It's just a case of, I think, him giving them the right rather than being so cautious. But maybe that'll come with time. Maybe it's a case of that's what's being worked on at the minute. Like I said earlier on in the podcast, it seems that a lot of it, especially at the minute from what we're seeing, it's in training. It's been, how can he make it a solid defensive unit and not too much emphasis on anything else. He knows we're good at set pieces anyway, so minimum effort being put in on the training pitch for that. Look, we scored 15 goals from set pieces last season. Every goal this season's been from a set piece so far, or at least in the follow up of it. So, I think change or at least some sort of attacking intent is going to be brought in soon. I hope.
Absolutely.
But looking forward,
it has to be. It has to be, mate. It has to be. We have to attack in this division. We can't go into every game like we did last night, and we can't perform like we did in every game as we did on Saturday. Not a chance. We'll get relegated. We'll go down.
Well, moving on from your positivity, 2 games again over the next from Saturday and next midweek. Obviously, we'll schedule the podcast for shortly after the game on Wednesday night. QPR and then Huddersfield. Expectations in terms of what you want to see in results, performance. Starting with QPR away, what you said. Hopefully, for a bit more caution to the wind.
Yeah, definitely. QPR is not an easy one. I've been to a few of those games lately, and obviously won't be able to go on Saturday, which is a shame. But yeah, I would take a draw. I would always take a draw at QPR. It's a really tricky place to go to. So a score draw would be good. I'd like to see a score goal from open play, which would be nice. So I'll take a 1-0 in that, and then next week against Huddersfield, they look far improved from last season, unfortunately. So again, I'd like to see us try and take that game by the scruff of the neck and go for it in that game. Obviously, try not to lose it. But again, if it's 2 draws, as long as we can score goals, I'm not too displeased. It's early days, like we say. There's still a lot of time to go, a lot of games to go.
Huddersfield being another one where we can draw to a certain extent the comparisons compared to on last season, because as with Swansea beyond closed doors last year, albeit at home at that time, compared to Swansea away this year, you're looking, we've got the point. Whereas Huddersfield, both of these 2 consecutive home games, one post lockdown and now new season, both beyond closed doors. It'd be interesting to see the difference in how we approach the game compared to how we did under Clotet. I think Huddersfield turned us over. I can't remember the exact score. I just know we lost. Did they score 3? Or was it just 1 or 2?
I think it was 3, wasn't it? I think we were conceding 3 goals most games post lockdown. So yeah, no. I mean,
I'm trying to block it out. I think that's the that's the issue. But
listen, the fact that we've only conceded 4 goals in 6 games is definitely an improvement. We've really got to improve at the other end. Like I say, we've got 40 games, so I'm not panicking. We've got Norwich away out the way now, so hopefully, starting Saturday, we can actually, we can hopefully pose some teams some problems going forward. Fingers crossed.
It's like we said, the bodies are there, the players are there. Would it be nice to have another striker in, although I think we can still dip into the free agent market if needs be, but I don't know if there's actually anyone out there worth even looking at. Well, I keep seeing Umar Nias's name bandied around.
Yeah.
I mean, would his wages not be too steep? Playing Premier League football last year.
Yeah, I don't know much about the player. I know, obviously, not Everton are trying to get him off the books. He's gone now, is he? Is he gone? Is he left?
Yeah,
He's a free agent.
Got rid of him. Yeah, into the season. Yeah, well, same as last season, beginning of this.
I mean, I think, to be perfectly honest with you, what we've got is what we've got. We need to just crack on now, do the best we can, and then once January comes along, hopefully, we can maybe look at another forward. But yeah, what we've got is it, I think.
Yeah, I think you unfortunately might be right. Look, we've got Clarksall back on deadline day. Can't grumble too much.
Yeah, just what we needed, another defender. So, at the moment, so I'm sure he'll do good. No, I'm happy with Jake Clarksall coming back, but, in that left centre-back position, I think Friend's been doing a good job. So, me personally, it wasn't a position that I was particularly worried about. If he got an injury or he didn't have the legs to sustain, 46 games this season, we have got Mark Roberts, we have got Bejrami from the development side. It's not the end of the world. I just really felt we needed another striker. So it was just a shame that we didn't get one in.
Yeah, well, let's see what comes around in January's window. It's obviously with what's going on, it's not actually that far off.
It's not, no. So
yeah, there's hopefully some plans going on behind the scenes, I'm sure. Karanka would have made his wish list. Obviously, it's just a case of sometimes they don't come available, do they, straight away?
Yeah, and obviously, we've said it on previous podcasts that we're going through a pandemic at the moment. Clubs haven't got money, and there's no supporters in the stadiums at the moment. You know, the money we have got for Bellingham, you know, it really does need to be invested into the club, you know, going forward, because it's going to be really tough times the next 12 months. So I don't blame the club for, you know, not spending. We haven't got money to spend. So, yeah, you know, fingers crossed we have a good solid season this year. You know, I'd take mid-table, won't we? So.
Yeah, even just not going into the last day, we were all expecting to get relegated. Would be an improvement, wouldn't it? I suppose. Obviously,
Yeah.
saved by Wigan's point deduction in the end, and well, obviously, the fact that Charlton got their arse handed to them at Leeds. But you know, anything is an improvement. It's a start, isn't it? We'll get there, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, there's 2 defeats. Not really much more talking points at the minute with transfer window shut, but just to quickly touch on the fact we've got special guest lined up on our next recording, which is happening over the weekend. Paul Devlin, I believe, is joining us for a Q&A. Got your questions ready? I believe you said that you was old enough to remember his career with us, unlike some of the other lads in the group.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. I think I started going to St Andrews around sort of 1995, 1996. I think that's literally when Paul Devlin signed for the club. So, yeah, I do remember him, but it was a long while ago. So, yeah, I've got a few questions lined up. I know that he's got a few stories to tell. Particularly, you know, stories around how he celebrated when we got promoted in 2002 should be interesting. And he had an up and down relationship with Trevor Francis. So yeah, it'd be an interesting chat.
Yeah, and I think there's some of us ticking on behind the scenes. So keep your eyes and ears pierced for those, I suppose. That's about what we've got time for tonight, really. Thanks for watching and tuning in. Get us your questions as always on the media channels at Blues Focus Pod. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Yeah, and we'll see you next week.